as I thought about what I wanted to film for this week, or as well as what I wanted to talk about this week, the thing that I'm really noticing about all of my work right now is that I am on massive learning curves. I am, still applying all of the things that I've already learned, but I'm doing it in new ways, and I'm still trying to understand kind of how to optimize and how to do these things effectively and efficiently. So, for example, I launched a platform on burnout. I'll link to that below, with some a free class and some really good information about burnout. I've had it beta tested, but I haven't had anybody sign up. I've only put it once on my LinkedIn, so I know that I don't notice my LinkedIn notifications most of the time anyway. But it is really interesting to, I don't know, shout into the abyss and then go, hey, wait a minute, what happened? How do I make this work better next time? I did a live stream with my Patreon and nobody came. I'm like putting a lot of things out there into the universe right now and not really seeing very many pick up on them. I've got a handful of subscribers on Patreon, which I'm super grateful for and I'm super excited about. And at the same time, I haven't seen any growth on Patreon since I launched it, and I have been trying to lure people into subscribing for the free subscription there. And even that is difficult. And so I'm constantly learning. I'm learning about how to optimize my calls to action and test them, and learning which platforms work best for what and what kinds of things actually get to people. And that's been not the easiest path, honestly. I feel like a lot of things I'm doing right now are climbs uphill, or just, shouting into the abyss. I feel like I'm doing a lot of groundwork and foundational work. And honestly, just like having my now retired ASMR videos on this channel, a lot of what I'm doing is kind of laying the groundwork for later things, right? As I continue to try to figure out what I'm doing here on this channel, it's good for me to have kind of those older videos and to understand them and to know what worked and what didn't about the thumbnails, as well as understanding how to use the audio and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of learning. On the Thinkific burnout platform, I put together basically what people call a minimum viable product, which is basically failing forward. You put it together kind of quick and dirty. It's got some bumps, it's got some lumps, and then you iterate on there from that point. In a recent blog post I wrote about what my lessons learned were and what I'm going forward with. My next goal is to have a what managers can do to prevent their teams from burning out. And that's going to be the first thing that I post there that's a paid platform. Because I'm asking for money for these things, of course, I want them to be worth the money, and I want them to be high quality, and I don't want them to be like, well, your audio sucked or your video sucked, or, why didn't you do X, Y, Z? And so I'm really working on those elements of it. Like, I know my design is meh, but, I'm doing a lot of learning, and I'm doing the best I can. And kind of like how I did a disclaimer early on in this process, where I said, like, my hair is going to be messy. I'm not going to be worried about my clothes fitting cutely, and my house is going to have messy pieces, and there's going to be dust and fur on the floor and stuff like that. I feel like that's kind of where I am on all of my endeavors. I'm kind of like, good enough is good enough. I don't really want to try to be perfectionistic about all of the things I'm doing, because that's just going to slow me down, honestly, and nobody cares. And hell, half the time nobody's looking. Um, so, um, so I feel like a little overwhelmed by how much I'm in that learning curve phase. It's funny because when people start new jobs and they're like, woohoo, I got a new job, I will often tell them it's going to take you a year to understand what your job is, or it's going to take you 6 months to understand what your job is, and it's going to take you a year to understand how to do it well. And I tell people that whenever I'm giving career advice for a new job, right? And I'm just over the 6 month mark. And I'm now in that stage of I know what my job is, but I'm learning how to do it well. And and just because I'm self-employed and just because what I'm doing is a lot of passion projects and creative projects doesn't mean it's not work. And it doesn't mean that my advice that I give everybody else doesn't apply to me. So part of what I'm doing is kind of holding myself in that grace and holding myself in that gentleness and saying, good enough is good enough. And that's pretty much where I am in a lot of my pieces of work right now. And one of the things that I also have done in acknowledging that this is my job now is I stop. I stop at the end of the day. I don't do it at all over the weekend, which I was doing for quite some time. And I take vacations. So it's really very important to me to do all of these things because it is a huge part of work-life balance and maintaining a healthy mindset. It's also really important for creativity to have downtime. I find that I'm better at problem solving if I step away from things. And so treating it like a real job and having boundaries around it like a real job has been incredibly healthy for me. And I really like that about this mindset shift that I've been doing. And it's so the learning curve is it's a real job and I'm trying to learn what my job is and how to do it well. But then part of it is also, and then I stop at the end of the day. And so today I am stopping at the end of the day. And one of the things that I do, the very first thing I do when I stop at the end of the day is take Loki on his run around the yard. And so this is our daily routine and he loves it. I love it. It's only about a quarter of a mile for me to walk the whole thing. Yes, of course I've measured it. But at the same time, like it's way longer for him because he's coming back and forth. But it's still really vital time because I'm connecting with my landscape, with my land. I'm looking at what's growing, what's blooming, what's sprouting this year. What are new plants to identify? What are plants I identified last year? And I feel like it gives me a sense of place and a sense of home. And it really does feel very relaxing. It also gives me a really good end to the day because once I've done this, I don't want to go back to the computer. I've gotten some sunshine, I've gotten some exercise and some fresh air. Loki's panting like a crazy thing. and that is ideal. That's an ideal break. It's an ideal physical break. It's an ideal mental break. And usually this is when I like kind of flow into the day of doing yard work or outside chores. Like today I'll feed the hummingbirds and stuff like, watering the garden. Not this early in the day, it's too hot, but just kind of doing stuff around the house then is as like moving from work into being in the evening. And then I cook dinner. And then after dinner, I sit on the sofa and loaf. Sometimes I might darn socks or do something creative, but usually I just kind of play on my phone or watch TV or text people or whatever. So yeah, this is part of my routine of making a job a job. And honestly, I'm here for it. I think it's really helpful. And since I've really changed how I've been working and thinking of it as a job, I've been much more relaxed and much more able to relax. Finally, the other thing I'm going to note is that I will be posting shorts next week, but I won't be posting a long form video because I have a guest in from out of town, and I'm taking a vacation. And I'm very proud of myself for taking a vacation. So I'm hoping to upload a couple of shorts because we're going to do some fun stuff and I'll have some interesting videos. But I'm not really anticipating posting a video for next week. I will be back the week after that. So I hope you have a wonderful first couple of weeks of June, and I will see you then.